What is up, you beautiful people? This is Gary Horne, and this is the NWA, the show celebrating the past, present, future, history, legacy, and tradition of the greatest wrestling entity of all time. Of course, we're talking about the National Wrestling Alliance. I was calling it a podcast, and it's not just a podcast, and I haven't had to call it a podcast in I don't know how long, but that's still like built into my brain. Anyway, hey, I'm here, and so are my friends. This is Wil Martin over here.
What's up? The race to the chase is officially on. If tonight didn't pump you up for it, then check your pulse. But we got a lot to talk about. I'm excited about tonight.
Also, just check your pulse regularly to make sure you're alive.
Just
in general.
Yeah,
I mean,
in these trying times, it's probably just a good idea.
Yeah. Speaking of somebody, if you're not alive, that might be able to help you, it's the doctor, Rob Stinson. Hey, Doc.
Right? That's exactly the kind of doctor I am. You nailed it.
It's true. That's what his PhD is. He says in love, but we know it's in everything. He's all about it. So anyway, this episode is brought to you by our sponsors over at LegacySups.com, where you can use the code NWA FAM. That gets you 10% off over at Legacy Subs. That's Nick Aldis' supplement brand, and they got a lot of great stuff over there. So you want to check them out, just like testosterone enhancers. Like, that's why I'm so jacked here lately. They've got that X-Lean, which is a fat burner, which is why I'm less fat than normal. You can't see it because I was so fat, but it's working slowly, I think. But anyway, point is, LegacySups.com. They also presented tonight's episode of Race to the Chase on FITE TV. Hope you watched that. If you didn't, well, we'll talk about it. And also, this show is brought to you by, I don't know why I'm doing this. I've never done this before, so these guys had no idea this was coming. I'm just doing sponsors right up front. Busch Light. Just getting ready to load it up here by trusty Koozie. And they're official sponsors of NWA 73 and Empower. Thank you, Anheuser-Busch. Is that how you say it? Anheuser-Busch? What? I don't know. Busch Light. I'm good at this. I'm really good at this. One day, the NWA will let me have a job. All right.
Just hopefully it's not talking about sponsors.
Eric Dell says if you use code NWAPOD, it'll add 10% to the price over at Legacy Subs.
Yeah,
I'm sure that's true.
I believe that.
All right. So Dead Kobe in the chat, John Gott in the chat, Eric Dell, Kevin, it's good to see you. Polka Dot Pam, as always. Dodie, it's good to see you too. Jedi Warrior, who was calling our names. So glad we could be here for you guys. And of course, our trusty friend Front Row and JPGRA got his tickets. Congrats. This is going to be fun. Can't wait to see you in St. Louis. Come say hello if you're in the chat right now. And if you're not in the chat right now and you see us in St. Louis, come say hello because we'll be there. We are going to the chase, fellas. We officially booked our travel like yesterday. Booked the travel and booked the Airbnb. Hopefully not in a bad neighborhood, which has happened.
Correct. Well, it makes for good stories. It makes for good stories.
It wasn't a bad neighborhood until we booked it, though. You leave that little piece out.
Yeah, I was going to say it was
a very quiet neighborhood, and we came in and messed everything up.
We didn't really help the cause.
What in the world are Pero and these big Vikings walking around this neighborhood?
It was just me. It was just me and Gary.
Yeah, people often confuse us for Pero and Odinson.
Yeah.
When you see us backstage, you cannot tell. We almost had to go in and fight Crimson and Jack Stain one time.
I was like, it's not me. It's not me. It's these. No, it's not us.
Yeah, it's the smaller guys over here.
Say that to their face, Gary.
Oh man. All right. Jedi Warrior says, I have such faith in the NWA in St. Louis. I bought both shows separately, not the bundle. Wow. That is impressive. Okay. All right, Jedi. Well, thanks for your support.
Respect that.
Yeah, that's awesome. This is going to be an exciting event. We've got a lot to talk about today. We've, of course, got NWA 73 and Empower to talk about. NWA Power tapings are on Monday and Tuesday of that week. If you haven't already gotten your tickets to those, you could go be live, which will keep you alive in the crowd for like months on end. You'll be a part of the NWA. It's like you're just built in at that point. And so we'll get to all of that towards the end of the show. We got a special guest coming up here pretty soon. Also, guys, did you see the news today that Mr. William Patrick Corgan bought the Burke, the OG original Women's World Championship? Look at that thing.
That's incredible.
Yeah, how about that? Now, there's a man who's going all out for the history, legacy, and tradition of the National Wrestling Alliance. Polka Dot Pam, I was way ahead of you. You said you wanted to talk about the original Burke. Well, there it is. So that's exciting. It looks smaller than it actually is, and that is because Billy Corgan is actually also a very tall man. And so, don't let it deceive you. I think he's like 6'10" or something. Maybe not.
Very tall. But very, very, very tall. I have one now that we know that the Hex are in action at Empower. I just have this strange fascination with seeing Allison Kay pictured with that original Burke, since she was the first to hold the NWA Burke. I'd love to see that juxtaposition of her with the original and with the new iteration of the Burke. I think
Doc was slow to get that sentence out, and so I was worried where it was headed, but you kept it classy. I appreciate that. Pinkies up. When he starts off a sentence with, I want to see Allison Kay, and then you're like, where is he? It's always weird. He does that. He does that with me, too. It's very odd. All right. So anyway, but Doc, I mean, seriously, the Burke, the original Burke, that's the one Mildred Burke held back in, do you remember the year exactly she won it initially?
32, 33. It was early, man. We're talking about 1930s.
Yeah, and she held that thing for like 10 years without ever losing. And so go ahead.
There's a fantastic article that has been out on social media today, a Sports Illustrated article regarding the purchase of the Burke, basically bringing the Burke back home. And there's a lot of dialogue in there about the NWA never officially recognizing her. And that's something that we've kind of taken on as a project to go back and I wouldn't say correct history, because the NWA, the Alliance, wasn't formally founded until 1948. But I think it's not as though when the NWA was formally founded, it's just like they said, oh, here's a guy, Orville Brown, let's name him champion. There's a reason that Orville Brown was named the world's heavyweight champion. And I would like for us for the NWA to go back and acknowledge some of these, because I mean, yes, was the Mildred Burke an NWA World's Women's Champion? Formally speaking, no, but for all practical purposes, that's exactly what she was. I mean, you have no NWA Women's Division without Mildred Burke. So I'd love to go and see us not correct the past. I mean, the past is the past, but to go and kind of redress it and maybe tie up some loose ends and bring some formal recognition to things like that. So.
Hey guys, you want to see something weird? I'm going to show you something weird real quick. How about this? We got a live cam. We set this up without him knowing. Here it is. It's over at Joe Galley's house. So let's check in on that.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, hi fellas.
What's up?
Well, Joe, it's so good to see you. This is a
you
unique situation.
Well, I got an opportunity to get some yoga in, try to stretch myself out. All stressed out. I'm all energized for what's happening coming up as we're getting closer and closer to St. Louis. And Gary, I'm gonna have to sit you down. We got to get you some lessons on how to do all the correct spots for the sponsors.
You're right.
Thank you.
You're right. I aspire. You're actually my inspiration. I one day hope to be as good as Joe Galley on the mic, but those days are still to come.
Gary, don't reach for a beer. Head to the mountains with delicious natural Busch Light.
Oh,
that
man.
easy. It's that easy.
I'm going to the store.
Yeah.
If you do have
He's
a
reading.
chance,
He's reading cue cards. He's reading cue
cards.
cards.
It's not that. It's not that, Doc. I actually spent a long time watching late 70s, early 80s commercials for Busch Light that are on YouTube. Highly recommend, because they are so, like, there's one where there's a calf that's drowning in the stream, and the cowboy goes to save the calf, and his reward for afterwards is all natural, delicious, fresh tasting Busch Light.
Wait, the calf's reward?
Yeah, the calf gets to have a beer too. I mean, because it's a calf.
It's a near death experience.
Who's gonna card him? It's a calf. So
yeah,
you guys do yoga? You guys stretch?
Actually, I have been doing a little DDP yoga. So I've been trying that.
That dynamic resistance stuff is good, man.
Yeah, doing the diamond cutter. Arms out to a T. Hulk it out. Yeah. Oh man.
My wife.
So our strategies for advertising are different, Joe. You're actually giving sensible information, and my strategy to advertise Busch Light was to just get hammered drunk on a live stream.
That's the right way to do it too. There's no wrong way to advertise Busch Light. There's really no wrong way for it.
People are unless you
have the legacy supplements and you're pouring the Busch Light into that, it might be defeating the purpose just a little bit. But
I take that's
neither here nor there.
Or it cancels it out.
Yeah, I take 5 X-lean pills that are supposed to get your heart rate going, but you balance it with 5 Busch Lights. It's a gamble. Doc, you were going to say something. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, I was going to say my wife Tanya does a lot of yoga. She invited me to come to body pump one night, and I was like, yeah, whatever, I'll do it. I was smoked in 2 minutes. I was at muscle failure. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm done. I'm gonna stick to my regimen of whatever I do. So less strenuous. Which is, I run every day, so I try to stay, lean and healthy and keep that heart ticking. So,
Joe, where is this that you're at? Is this at your? No, there's another random man walking around over there.
It's my yoga instructor. He's very upset with me that I'm taking time away from our dedicated lessons to increase my flexibility to chat with you guys. But that's okay. You're more important. Well, especially our NWA fans are more important. Hi, fam. Y'all have been so sweet on social media to me, and I do appreciate that.
Yeah, there's lots of great people, and always in the chat. We appreciate everybody. Getting a lot of questions about concessions. Do you know anything about that at the Chase? Are they actually going to have steak sandwiches like on that old school video?
Steak sandwiches, I do not know, but there will be alcohol purchase. So come on, as long as there's that.
Yeah, that's really what anybody
cares about. That's really all you really need at that point.
Yeah. So this is going to turn out okay, I think. What could go wrong, especially on those 10-hour power taping days?
That's when we need it the most.
Exactly.
Oh, man. Yeah, I was looking to see if the chat had any questions for Joe while he's here. Let's see here. Yeah, just a lot of love Joe Galley.
Oh,
yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I got a question.
Sure.
We've heard you talk a lot about the history and legacy and tradition behind everything. As as a commentator in some of these videos, just like tonight on the Race to the Chase trilogy. But for you personally, Joe, how is this all hitting you to be going as lead NWA commentator in such a historic building venue for a historic event like this? How are you feeling?
I have to say, it's stunning to me. There are parts of me that it's almost out of body, that I can't believe I'm in this position. And it's really been nice being able to see all these video packages that show the recent history of the NWA, all the stuff of the clips that I heard during the Nick Aldis, Cody Rhodes match, which may or may not, it's up there with the top 5 matches I've ever called in my career. And so to be able to see that recent history and also to see all the way back stuff, all those clips and all that archival footage that we found, it's really amazing. And it really just, it stirs my imagination. I have not had an opportunity to visit St. Louis. So obviously I have not been to the Chase. So I've only seen what we saw during the press conference. I'm really excited to just kind of get the feel of it there. And I think what we're creating and the atmosphere that's going to be there, it's going to be something that's very special, and it's going to really pay homage to the past while at the same time driving what the NWA is doing further into the future. And it's it's one of those things where you really don't even realize you're there and you're a part of it until like you're in it, and then the adrenaline kicks in, and then it's over and you can't wait to do it again. So excited for that. Excited to see all these wonderful people. And it's been great, working. I've been doing some spot shows here in the Texas area for a couple of organizations that are featuring a lot of the women that we're going to see on Empower. I'll be working a show with Kylan King coming up on Friday, a benefit show for Salvation Army with Mission Pro Wrestling. So it'll be great to see her. It's great to always see people like Allison Kay and Marty Bell and all these other incredible athletes that we're going to have and Empower. And I know that, in having conversations with them, they're just super excited to be really a part of the history. Because when it comes down to it, yes, I'm a commentator and I'm the voice and whatnot, but that's not what people remember. They remember Harley Race. They remember Dusty Rhodes. They remember Mildred Burke. They remember those people. And so for them to have this opportunity, which I don't think that if you told them, 1 year ago, 2 years ago, 10 years ago, did you ever think you'd have an opportunity to wrestle in a venue with this much historical importance? I think it means a lot for the wrestlers. And so I'm really excited to see what they're going to bring to the table for both of these pay-per-views and for our NWA Power tapings.
Well, let me call you to the carpet real quick, Joe. And again, I hold you in very high personal esteem. We've been to some shows together. We've done some stuff offline together. But from one journalist to another, what did it take for you? I mean, I see you at the tapings, cuddled up there with Billy Corgan and Pat Kenny, Irish Pat Kenny, and Billy Trask. What did it take for you to arrange for this match after Nick Aldis has decisively defeated Trevor Murdoch multiple times, time after time after time? What did it take for you and Conspiracy Corgan and Irish Pat Kennedy to get this match on the books at NWA 73? I got to know. I just want to address the elephant in the room.
The doctor seems to completely forget that we had this series of episodes featuring the Champion Series. Do you remember who won the Champion Series, who has those opportunities, and who has it in his back pocket? And Doc, I don't know what you're so worried about. If you are so gung-ho and you're behind Nick Aldis and he can do no wrong, and as we saw here on NWA Power, he did beat Trevor Murdoch flat in the ring in North Carolina. It's undisputed. It happened there. Why can't you just do it one more time? Or are you afraid? Are you a little worried? Are you concerned? Because maybe being in that venue, maybe having this amount of time, maybe having the motivation for the fact that this could be his very last match could be just enough for what Trevor Murdoch needs to achieve the ultimate goal of being the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion.
Well,
I
I'm
gotta
not
tell you,
concerned.
I feel great about this whole line of questioning. I just I don't know. It's just good. It's usually Nick in here, and this is just nice.
I have to say,
I'm not
Doc, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I've never done a
go
podcast
ahead.
interview laying down, and this is really comfortable. I'm going to recommend it for you gentlemen. You got to just try laying down.
Well, it's totally not weird for us.
And just kind of just doing like some stretching and stuff. It feels good. I feel loose. I feel happy. This is good. I feel comfortable. After a long day.
Before you answer or respond to Joe here, Joe, you're welcome to stick around here. Joe just showed up spontaneously. We didn't even expect Joe Galley here today. We have another guest coming in, and we kind of hinted that he would be around, but he might as well jump in, right?
Can we do 5 people? Oh, yeah. Look at that.
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
Oh, cool.
Look at that. Give the people what they want.
Hello, gentlemen. Hello, gentlemen.
Look, it's a party now.
Yeah, 4 of us are really happy to see each other.
It's an NWA 73 party.
I was sitting in the queue and I was hearing the questioning from Doc, and I just want to say, Mr. Joe Galley, I appreciate you pointing out facts to Doc for me. This isn't given to me. I had to earn it, just like everybody else. Everybody else had the same opportunity. The fact of the matter is, I was the guy that came out on top.
It's true. He beat Tom Latimer. Strictly Business's own Tom Latimer in a knockdown, drag-out brawl. But he took him down. And that's impressive to me because Tom Latimer is a monster and Trevor Murdoch looked ready in that match. Like he looked like he was ready to take on the world. So I'm afraid for Nick Aldis. Like I don't know, Doc. It's not pretty.
I have never said
Doc,
anything
I'm patiently waiting.
Mr. Murdoch, I've never been but respectful to you. I think you would have been one of the great national champions in the history of this business. But here we got home field advantage. We got this ridiculous conspiracy series conjured up in this corrupt mind of this corrupt president, along with Irish Pat Kenny and gerrymander Joe Galley. I'll say it. And I just want to know. You've got other guys waiting in the wings. Why is it now? Now here we are, home court advantage for you at the Chase, right there in your hometown. Does that strike anybody as unfair, or is it just me? I'm trying not to be biased here. I'm not biased. I try to call facts as I see them too. But I don't know.
Well,
just seems a little fishy. And Joe looks awful comfortable tonight. Joe looks awful comfortable.
Here's another way of looking at it. For the last 2 times, I've been on Nick Aldis's home court advantage. He's been the champion. He's been the one in control. And he still is walking in as champion. The difference is I'm going to have my people there to cheer me on. The difference is I'm have my family there. My best friends are going to be there. And I'm going out there and I'm going to give everything I've got. I've put my career on the line. I don't know what else I can do to show everybody and certainly show Nick that this is the most important thing in the world to me. I'm willing to walk away if I can't win.
That's a big move, Trevor, because you didn't have to do. Your team won in the Champion Series, so you have a title shot, but you're still owning up to that agreement that you're going to walk away.
Since the day I've walked into the NWA, since the first interview I've had with Joe Galley, since I've always been a man of my word. Whether it's turned out to be the best for me or not, when I've spoke to you, when I said I was going to do something, I've done it. And this is no different. I made the challenge. I put it out there. And I'm sure Nick is loving every minute of it. Have I questioned my decision a little bit? Yes. I've invested 22 years into something I love. But also everybody needs to remember, if I'm willing to walk away from something so important to me, you should know how much the NWA World Title means to me, and being world champion means to me.
It's like a perfect.
So what's going to happen? What's going to happen on day 1045? Because that match is on day 1044. What's going to happen on day 1040? Because I don't need to remind anybody here. And Trevor, Mr. Murdoch, I don't mean to sound disrespectful. You've been in that ring. I'm not a wrestler. I respect your contributions to the business. You are worthy of a shot. You've been worthy of the shots you've been given. But Nick Aldis has also got the weight of the world on his shoulders. He's also walking into the Chase. He's also walking into history. You don't think that those same thoughts go through his mind? He's going to have family there. What's going to happen on day 1045 when you wake up and realize, oh my gosh, I've squandered this for nothing?
Well, my plan is not to wake up and realize I've squandered it for nothing. The plan is to walk away world heavyweight champion. I plan on giving you a call on day 1045 and giving you a picture of me in the NWA World Heavyweight title. That's the only thing I can't look at it any other way. If I look at it as if this is my last match, it will be my last match. I have to go into this knowing and willing to do everything that's inside me, every push, every moment, to kick out on every opportunity, because I know Nick's going to hit me with some big stuff. I would be an idiot to take Nick lightly, especially in this situation. But I truly feel in my heart of hearts that this is my moment. Like this is where the greatness is going to come out of me, because every time I'm backed into a corner, I've proven everybody wrong. Every ounce, every moment of my career. Trevor, you're too fat to go to the WWE. You don't look like everybody else. Well, I said, kiss my ass, and I walked out of there as 3-time WWE World Tag Team Champion. Everybody said, Trevor, we go to Japan, you ain't going to make it over there. Those guys are too tough. I ended up with a GHC World Heavyweight title match. And when I walked into the NWA, I was just supposed to be here for one stinking match. And today, right now, everybody's talking to me about walking into the biggest NWA pay-per-view that we've had to date, and I'm in the main event. I'm here to prove everybody wrong, and guys like Joe Galley, who's believed in me from the start, prove him right.
Pretty presumptuous, Doc, that you keep saying the number 1045, and I think you're going to get yourself used to that, and it's going to be a real shock to the system when you realize that day number 1044 has morphed into day number 1.
Oh, that now you're prognosticating. Now you're taking the Joe Galley. You're drinking the Joe Galley Kool-Aid. You're drinking some gerrymander Joe Galley aid right now.
I'm just saying the man
You're
sounds
supposed
serious.
to be
He's
a
ready to
journalist. Obviously, well, you didn't show your hand, did you?
Who, me?
And Trevor, I'm sorry you have to hear this again. I always nothing but the highest regard for you. And if you walk out of St. Louis,
Can I stop you there?
Yeah,
Everybody that says, "Hey, man, I don't mean to disrespect you," but is usually probably disrespecting me. Let's just be realistic here. And you keep going, "Hey, Trevor, you know I love you. Hey, Trevor, you know I think you could be world champion." But there's always a but with you, Doc. And you know what? I have no heat with you. I love you, man. There's a lot of other people out there in the world that think like you. And you know what? I'm not going to hate. That's not how I handle my business. All I want to do is at the end of the night at 73, when they raise my hand to be world heavyweight champion, I just want you to look me in the eye, shake my hand, and go, "I was wrong." That's all I ask.
you got it. I will be the first to congratulate you if that happens. And for the record, I didn't say I felt you could be world champion. I said I felt you could be national champion, which is an admirable goal. And, just I want to clear that up. But yes, I'll be the first. I'll be the first in line.
You're a dick. I'm just going to throw that out. Let's clear that up. Right? Doc, you're a dick. And I know, it's not popular to call people out, but yeah, you're being a dick. Now stop. You have definitely got your panties in a wad over this match. If I were you, I would be calling Nick Aldis and consoling him and talking to him and keeping him fired up.
You know who I really feel sorry for, Trevor, is Joe Galley over here, because he, if Nick Aldis has his way, that's going to be a regular fixture during strictly business matches from here on out. So
you never need to feel sorry for me, Gary. I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm getting nice and loose and ready to go at St. Louis. And I do want to take this opportunity, Doctor. I think if you keep pushing here with Trevor Murdoch being in the chat or in the stream here, you're going to need another doctor to deal with the wounds that you might get in St. Louis. So just, watch out for yourself. Be careful out there. Trevor Murdoch, we've seen how dangerous of a man he is. But anyways, guys, I'm going to take off. I just want to say goodbye to everybody in the chat. Bye, guys. Thanks for having me on. And
thanks, Joe.
What are we, 11 days away, right?
11 days away.
11 days.
Can't wait to see y'all in St. Louis.
Well, thanks for the surprise
Thanks,
visit, Joe. We appreciate it.
See you.
All right.
All right. Well, let me come in as the middleman here, literally, between Gary and Rob, because I have some actual questions. Watching tonight was really cool, and I hate that I didn't get a chance to be with you guys in Charlotte for that match. But hearing you after that unsuccessful attempt to get the 10 pounds of gold in Charlotte, this stipulation of title versus career, is this something that was it a heat of the moment thing for you? Is it something you've been thinking about? Because you brought up a good point about anybody in this business, they should have their eyes set. The target should be the world's championship. And is this something that you've thought about for years, or is this something that just lately you've really come to the determination that, hey, it's got to be all or nothing with this match in St. Louis?
It was a combination of a couple things. I've never taken anything away from Nick Aldis. He beat me fair and square at the gathering that evening. I told everybody in the building I didn't, stomp my feet. He beat me fair and square right in the middle of the ring. Nick Aldis is a very intelligent individual. He knows how to play the game in the ring and outside the ring. With that in mind, I knew that Nick wasn't going to be okay with going for a second round. I knew that. I knew that. Or third round, I'm sorry, after the first two. And I knew that he was going to say no. But I had to give him something to think about. And the only thing that I could get him to the table with, I knew the only thing I could get him to the table with was for me to be out of the picture. That's what he wants. He wants me off his back. He wants me to quit bugging him. He wants to be able to walk on NWA Power and still be the king and be the ruler and be in control 100%. Nobody buck him. And it would be very easy for me to just walk away and he would have that. So I knew at the gathering, if I was going to get another opportunity, I was going to have to go big. I also knew that the Champion Series was coming up, and I knew what the end result was for the winners. So I worked my butt off in the Champion Series, and I was trying to go both ends, if that makes any sense. At the very least, I could I had a trick card with the career, but also if I won in the championship series, I could actually challenge him. Again, I repeat this: Nick's not an idiot. He is the reason why he's been the world champion for how many days, Doc?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
1,030. I appreciate you.
1,032.
Okay. Whatever that number was, because I was talking while he was talking. Nick's earned every ounce of respect. He deserves it. I've never taken anything away from him. But he also knows that I'm a potential threat for him. I am a threat for him, or he wouldn't be running the way he is. And the only way I knew that I could ultimately get him to pull the trigger was to put my career out there. And if I can't be world champion, I'll repeat it again too. If I can't be world champion, if I can't win, I can't be the representation of the NWA, why am I here? Like, you know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong. I enjoy entertaining folks, and I've done it for 22 years, but I want to be world champion. I want to be the guy. I want to be the man. I want to be able to take a picture and put it next to Harley's and go that I'm at the very least in his conversation. I'm not at his level, at Harley's level, but I'm in the conversation. I want that, and I'm willing to sacrifice everything to get that.
Mike, Gary.
Whoops. I was trying to respect Trevor earlier while he was talking, and so I apologize. I didn't want to jump in. Sometimes I interrupt.
Yes.
No, what I was thinking of is that it's interesting because you take a loss like in Charlotte, you take it in stride, and you understand that seemingly is part of the game when you're a professional wrestler. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Nick seems to think he can't lose to you, and that seems to be his reasoning for everything. And I know that he obviously part of that's like to get into your head. I guess it's just interesting to hear you talk about it. One question I have for you that actually comes from the chat is from Front Row and Eric, I think, and a few people asked this. Are you doing anything special to prepare yourself for this matchup?
I'm constantly in the ring. I know most wrestlers, they talk about hitting the gym. For me, it's a mental game and it's a ring game. I'm constantly in the ring wrestling different guys, wrestling one guy after another guy after another guy. Because when you go up against an athlete like Nick Aldis, it doesn't matter at times how strong you are to win. And with Nick, you've got to outthink him. I'm constantly in the ring. That's my home. That's where I feel comfortable. That's where I push myself to the point where I'm almost about to puke. Because I'm going to be in all of those situations with Nick Aldis. He's going to take me through the gamut, and vice versa, because I'm going to be right there going toe to toe with him. But for me, the ring work has always been the number one source of what I need to do to try to take on my different opponents. That's how I feel comfortable. I almost have to. I've wrestled Nick Aldis more than 2 times. It's just 2 times it's been physical, about 2,000 times in my head in the ring at the training school. Because I've got to be prepared for everything Nick's going to bring. Because, Doc, one of the things, like, I understand what you're saying when it comes to Nick's coming to bring it all. He's got just as much to lose as I do, to a certain extent. So I'm preparing myself for a Nick Aldis that we've never seen before. And I have to prepare myself for that. I have to if I want to accomplish my goal. I would be an idiot to say that I don't have it in the back of my head that maybe I don't have enough. No matter how hard I work, maybe I'm just not NWA World Championship material. That's a thought that's in my head. It's something that drives me. Because if I do lose, I have to do it in front of my family and my friends in the world. I have to walk away with knowing that I made a stipulation and I did it to myself. And as a man, if that happens, I will deal with it and handle it like a man should. But that's why I'm in the ring all the time, because I don't ever want to have that conversation. I don't want to have that look. I don't want to have to look at my children and have to have that conversation.
Want to take a second too to say shout out to Genocide, who's in the chat. We love you too, and she's
love us some Genocide. That girl can beat the hell out of somebody.
Yeah, that's your teammate there. It brings up an interesting point too. I was just thinking about is that part of you winning the Champion Series and getting this opportunity to position yourself again is that there's a couple of people, Jack Stade, Pope, Colby Carrino, they're having to step aside, I guess, to let you go ahead and take your shot here. I guess I don't know if you had any discussions with them, but I presume you are prepared to deal with the fact that all three of those guys can be coming for you right after this.
I have actually. They did step aside, and I love how Doc animated that as if it was a bad thing. Even Nick Aldis, your almighty world champion, has expressed to you that I do a very good job of getting along with my coworkers. I know you guys have heard some bad stories about the wrestling business, and the NWA is a whole totally different locker room, a locker room that I enjoy and have a ton of respect for my coworkers. Yes, I've spoken to every one of those individuals and pleaded my case. And they've also been on this journey with me as well, too. And they've all taken a moment and said, yeah, Trevor, this is your time. This is your opportunity. And nobody stepped in my way. And I'm very thankful for them on that aspect. It could have made my shot of going to the chase in St. Louis very difficult. But they were very kind to me in the aspect of they just stepped aside and said, we'll take the next car. If that makes any sense. And like you said, this may be a strategic game for guys like Pope, because Pope's a smart cat too. And this may be a strategic scenario where he's thinking maybe he's taking out the beast. So, you know what I mean? It's a game. Pro wrestling's a game, I guess. But I'm just thankful that they were kind enough to let me have this opportunity.
I got to know what that conversation.
You go ahead.
No, I was got to know what that conversation was like with Pope. Pope is out there, been hustling also, made it to the 7th defense. And now, he had that opportunity taken from him, but then another one presented itself. And you don't have to share any details, obviously, but I'm curious how'd that conversation go with Pope, because this is a man who's, like you said, is very hungry and could easily position himself in that main event picture. So I'm just curious how that conversation went down.
I'm more than welcome to enlighten you on that. I've known Pope for a very long time, and I explained the exact situation of where we're going. As a wrestler, Pope understands places, times, and moments. And when I explained to him what I ultimately wanted to do, and him expressing to me that he had just came off, with losing the television title, he didn't feel it, and maybe at this moment, this was the best opportunity for him to become a champion. That's the thing, Doc. Like, it wasn't an emotional, how can I put it? It wasn't a vindictive conversation. Pope is smart, and he's smart enough to know that maybe right now at this moment, he's not prepared for the situation like I am. He wants to win. And he was very gracious in the fact that he knows that there's nobody in the company that knows Nick Aldis better than I do right now. Nobody. Nobody knows the ins and outs of him better than I do right now. The second guy would know better is Tim Storm. And Tim's on my speed dial. I'm constantly talking to Tim and getting advice from Tim. But no, Pope was very honest and upfront about the situation and understanding that, no, this is my moment. It's the moment you're scared of, Doc. We're walking into my house. We're walking into my people. And I mean, you can't have you can't have either a better winner or a better losing situation. And in all honesty, the people are the ones that are going to win, no matter whether I win or lose. They're the one that's going to win, because on that night, history is going to be made one way or another.
Not to add to anything that could be on your mind, and just a couple of more questions with you. I know you're a busy guy.
No. Please, I'm here for you guys.
When you rewinding back further than Charlotte at When Our Shadows Fall and the matchup there with Nick Aldis, that match ended, I'll say, just to keep the peace with Doc here, it was a controversial ending. It didn't quite go your way on that night, and there's the risk of something similar happening again. Does that play a part in your strategy and your thinking going into this one?
No, actually, because here's why. Charlotte is what changed all of this. We're going back. If Nick would have beat me fair and square in the middle of the ring at When Shadows Fall, I might have very well walked and stepped aside and let somebody start their next journey. I would have had to have been a man and say, hey, you beat me fair and square. It's somebody else's opportunity. But that's not how it happened. That's not how it went. I was this close from beating Nick. I knew it. Doc, you sure as hell know it. And I tell you, that right there is what's kept me going, because I know I can beat Nick. I know I can. And as he's proved in North Carolina, he can beat me too. But what if just I'm a little bit better than Nick on August 29th? I just need 3 seconds. I need 3 seconds for my life to change. I need 3 seconds to put my name in the books. I need 3 seconds to prove to everybody that I deserve to be where I'm at. Nick, on the other hand, Nick has to survive. He has to survive everything I'm going to bring to him. Will he? I don't think so.
Very good. I believe you, Trevor. Doc's still got the questioning look in his eyes, but that's to be expected. Doc, did you have something you wanted to add there?
We're shooting straight from the hip, boys. So if you guys want to ask me, Doc, straight up, this podcast is different from everybody else. This is the realest shit possible. So Doc, if you've got a question, don't hold back, because I'll give you the answer you may not be looking for.
I mean, we hear about coming on were we not on our A game in Charlotte? Were we not on our A game in Atlanta? What makes this different just because it's home? I mean, I'm just having a hard time wrapping around going through this crazy conspiracy series that was obviously manipulated by Conspiracy Corrigan to get this particular match in place in this particular location. I mean, you don't struggle with that at all, that it came this way?
Well, no, not when I've had to earn everything. Shit. I don't struggle with that at all. I don't lose not an ounce of sleep. Shit. I've had to, Doc, have you ever followed my career? Ain't nobody ever given me anything. As a matter of fact, they've always told me what I couldn't do. You think a guy like me in a locker room full of bodybuilders survives because he just lets people do what they want? No,
I don't think you have a dishonorable bone in your body. I don't think you have a dishonorable bone in your body at all. But do you not feel manipulated?
I've been dealing with that with Strictly Business since the start. Like, legit. Like, how did I lose my national title? Listen, I don't feel bad about none of it. I don't feel bad about it. Finally, something's leaning my direction. I earned it. So, no, Doc, I don't lose not one wink of sleep over how this is played out. What I do lose sleep over is whether or not I can do it. Because I'll be sitting here bullshitting.
Will emotion play a factor? We've seen it motion get to you a couple of times, and we know that you're passionate, and we know that you really want this. How do you, on the biggest show of them all, how do you rein that emotion in?
I don't know. I don't know how I ring it in, because I've out of everybody that stepped into this company, I have ran on nothing but emotion. When they put a microphone in front of me, I tell everybody how I feel right then and there. No bullshit. Nobody going out there and handing me a script. You have gotten the real 100% Trevor from jump. So when I step into that ring and the Coruscant Ballroom at the Chase, August 29th, I'm going to be walking in with two angels first and foremost. One's Lance Cade and the other one's Harley Race. But I'm going to be walking through and everything I've worked, every training session, every match, everything that hasn't gone the way that it should have for me in my career is going to be walking with me. And I'm going to be controlling all of it, knowing that right now that nobody is in control of my destiny but me. Nobody. It's all up to me. Nobody. All the hard work I've put in from that moment won't mean anything until that time. It's all on me. And yeah, I'm sure that I do have a short temper. Doc, you've been the blunt of it a little bit sometimes. But I'm on the biggest stage of my career in front of the world and my family, going for the NWA World Heavyweight title. I've never felt more ready in my life. I've never felt more prepared in my life than I do right now. When I walk into that match, it's just me and Nick. It's not you. It's not Camille. It's not anybody else. It's one man against another man. And I'm going to beat him down emotionally and physically to the point where I can get that simple 1, 2, 3. That's what I'm going to do that night.
And you've got the whole world rooting for you. A part of me is even rooting for you. I mean, the sense of history and I don't want to, again, look, I've not walked in your shoes. You are wrestling on the biggest stage. You don't get to be on that stage unless you're worthy. And I don't think that you have a mechanical defect. I don't think that you have a talent defect. I think that what makes Nick Aldis so great, and we saw this in his match against Aaron Stevens, when you've got all this emotion on the line, you know, with the weight of like the specter of Josephus laying over the whole show, one would think, oh, this is the boost that's going to put Aaron Stevens over the top. But in that scenario, that's where Nick Aldis is so good. He is so good at laying all the emotion aside and being calculating and scientific when it counts. And that's where I wonder about you, Trevor. And again, this is not a disrespect. We're shooting straight. You said it. We're talking real here.
Yeah, please.
I don't think that there's a mechanical defect in you that says you can't be the world's heavyweight champion. You've got the ability, talent, skill, size, and desire and drive. But what makes Nick Aldis different from you and everyone else is that he is calculating. He's cold. He's very intentional and deliberate, and he is able to, once that bell rings, the emotion goes by the wayside. It's a game of mathematics at that point. And I want to know if on St. Louis, with the angel of Harley Race on your shoulder and Lance Cade on your shoulder, if you're going to be able to separate yourself from that particular aspect that has clouded you in the past. I mean, you have to admit that.
We have. You're absolutely right. At times, it has not worked out for me. But that's all we talk about is the times that it didn't work out for me. That same passion, drive, and desire is what's got me to where I'm at now. Just because I had a couple obstacles, 4 or 5 obstacles, that doesn't measure my 20 or 30 other successes where I've walked in and ran with my heart and my desire and what I feel is right. Yeah, when I go in there, I have to be me. I have to. If I lose being anything other than what I've been from that right now, how can I look at myself in the mirror and be happy with myself? If Nick beats me fair and square in the middle of the ring in St. Louis, Missouri, I can handle that. I can respect that. I can't handle the way things went at when our shadows fall. I think right now, at the very least, I think Nick and I are the two best in the game at what we do. And I think when we walk into the chase on the 29th, I think you're going to see two very different individuals. I know for me, I'm going to come in guns blazing. I'm going to give him every single thing I've got. He's going to have to earn that win for sure. And when he walks away from that match, he's going to be a very different individual from then on. Because the best way to put it, like, you may be able to whoop my ass, but you sure as hell going to know I'm there. And that's how I think about everything. You know what I mean? There's going to be days I'm going to lose. There's sure as hell going to be days I'm going to win. And my plan is on August 29th, it's going to be the day that I win.
Putting a lot of pressure on yourself too, going in there, and I know that you and Nick both know that there's a lot of pressure historically for this whole thing. But yeah, like you said, your friends, your family, everybody's going to be there. Your career's on the line. The world's heavyweight championship, the real world's heavyweight championship, to quote Nick on us. So all of this in the chase, I mean, it's huge. And to me, you can't have two better angels on your shoulder than Lance Cade and Harley Race. Harley Race is a man who lived with that pressure every single time he stepped in the ring as a world's champion. I mean, that's a guy who knows about it. At the same time, before Doc says it, I know that Nick Aldis knows all about that as well. And that Harley Race background you both share. I liked in the Race to the Chase documentary today when Kyle Davis actually said, a lot of people say that Trevor Murdoch and Nick Aldis are two polar opposites, but he tends to disagree with that you have a lot more in common than people realize. I guess, can you speak on Harley just a little bit in this moment? I know you've talked about this a ton of times, but how does that factor in when you know you're standing across from a guy who also has that same background? So you know that drive and that will that he would have picked up.
For me, Nick and I both had different relationships with Harley. I was the original. Nick, God love him. Nick spent a long time with Harley, but I was there from the beginning to the end. For me, I guess it's going to be a sense of what's the word I'm looking for? Like I'm not. People say they do things for people. But I have to win. Like, I have to, being a Harley guy and being his first student, like, I have to win. Like, there's no other, I know this isn't the greatest interview in the world in this aspect, but there's no other way to put it. When you come from a guy who's considered the toughest man in pro wrestling on God's green earth, the 8-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion, I have no choice. Like, I keep repeating myself, there's really no other way to put this. Like, I've got to win, because I don't know if I could bear thinking that if Harley was there to look at him and go, I didn't do it. You know what I mean?
The original, like, it almost feels like it completes a circle almost. Like, it's
yes. Well, if he was here, that would complete the circle. Like, that would, what better way to tell everybody when they're asking, when I'm an old man, like, how'd your wrestling career go? And to go, man, you have no idea. I started with a guy and ended up being the world champion just like him. It's almost like, a Sunday, a Lifetime show. You know what I mean?
A lot more punches.
But yeah, with punches and kicks and spandex. But I honestly feel like I have no other choice. That's why I put my career on the line. because if I don't win, there's not going to be any other opportunities. So why move forward? Just, you know, I feel as if I can't win, what better place to say, okay, thank you for everybody who supported me, but tonight you saw the last of Trevor Murdoch in the ring. That's just how I feel about it. I have wanted to be NWA World Champion for so long, and to now know that I'm 11 days away from that opportunity, to know that it's this close and me lose it. Hell, I don't know if I'll be able to show my face in a wrestling ring again. I don't know if I could do that. I have no other options but to win. Does that make any sense?
Makes perfect sense. I already believe it. You don't have to sell me. I know that you've got what it takes, and even if Doc is questioning it more than me, I think deep down Doc knows too. So,
well, and hey, listen, this is 2021, man. Everybody's, you know, they're welcome to their own opinions, and I welcome that. There's a lot of people out there that feel the same way the Doc does. You know what I mean? And I respect that. I understand that. There's maybe not as many, you know, there may be a lot of people out there that doesn't believe that I can do this. And it's up to me. I got to prove it to them. I got to prove it to them on August 29th. Hell, I got to prove it to myself. I got to prove it to Nick. I got to prove it to you guys. August 29th is going to be it's going to be the pinnacle of my career one way or another.
I think the difference between Doc and I's opinions here is just that he thinks all of this stuff that we're talking about is the kind of thing that can make someone crack. And I believe it makes you the most dangerous man that Nick Aldis has ever stepped in the ring with. So that's where I'm at. Fellas, we're running out of time here. Do you have anything else you want to throw at Trevor before we wrap this thing up?
No, just thank you for joining us. And if you haven't been checking in the chat, there's a ton of people rooting for you, and even a small piece of Doc, as he let slip, is rooting for you. So either way, like you said, this is going to be the pinnacle of your career in St. Louis. We're going to be there. I'm so excited about it. Everyone that's going to be there with us and everyone that's going to be watching on FITE TV, it's going to be absolute history, and I can't wait.
Thank you, guys.
One way or another, we're going to have history in St. Louis. Either we have a new champion or we have the end of the career of Trevor Murdoch. You cannot get a ticket to NWA 73. You can buy it on pay-per-view, but there are still tickets available for power tapings and for Empower. We want to sell that place out and make this a recurring event for the NWA, coming back home, coming back to Mecca, the promised land, Eden, as it were. And I'm getting excited right now just thinking about it. One way or another, there will be history August 28th and 29th in St. Louis, Missouri, wrestling at the Chase.
I cannot be more excited for that. Trevor, thank you so much. I can't wait to see you and be there. And believe me, I'll have the cameras ready for when Doc shakes your hand at the end of that match. That'll be nice. And when you come back through the curtain, we'll make sure we get that on video.
All right, boys. Thank you guys for having me. And Doc, I love you, buddy.
But
I love you too, Trevor. You know it's true.
I know, pal. Take care, pal.
Take care.
Right,
thanks, Trevor. All right. Well, Trevor Murdoch, I know we're never going to agree on this, so it's all that's going to take is for us all to tune in on August 29th, and we're going to have to find out just for ourselves with our own two eyes, or more if you have those, that Trevor Murdoch can beat Nick Aldis, and we'll find out for sure at NWA 73, 73rd anniversary in the Chase. And it's the only way you can see that show now, if you don't already have a ticket, is on pay-per-view on FITE TV. So make sure you've got that event, because that's going to be huge. I mean, that's just part of it, by the way. On NWA 73, there's a bunch more going on there. You got a 12-man battle royal taking place at that event. The winner will become the #1 contender for the national title, which we're going to find out who that is, but we'll get there. The Pope cleared the way for Trevor Murdoch to get his title shot here. Pope's got one. He's waiting in the wings for whoever walks out as the world's heavyweight champion. But Pope's going to be joining up with the End, Odinson and Pero. And they're going to be going in against Tyrus, the Masked Man, and Jordan Clearwater in a 6-man tag. That's going to be
interesting.
Crazy. Yeah.
It's an interesting matchup.
It is. It's going to be really, really cool to see that one. Another one I'm really looking forward to, like all of these guys, is a triple threat they're calling Brawl in the Lou. And that is Tim Storm back in the ring where he belongs with Crimson and Tom Latimer. How about that one?
That's huge. Just knowing that Tim Storm is going to be in the ring wrestling at NWA 73, that feels right to me. It feels like something that we should all get to witness, and I'm super excited for that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man! You can't have NWA 73 without having Tim Storm, maybe the patron saint of the Lightning One era. So that's fantastic.
Yep,
absolutely. And then you're also looking at Camille or Layla Hirsch, depending on how things go at Empower. One of those is going to be the NWA Women's World Champion, and they're going to be taking on whoever wins the Women's Invitational at Empower. So that's a huge match. Just both people are going to be coming off huge wins, historical wins the night before, and then they've got to go in and face another person on a hot streak. That's very next night. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I'll tell you this though. I mean, out of the two of those ladies, Camille and Layla Hirsch, both of them are at a level where I don't doubt either of them could turn around and defend that title the next night. So that's going to be definitely entertaining, and it's going to be very competitive no matter who it is they're facing. And I mean, that's a quick turnaround. I mean, you're talking about NWA 73. You're going to have somebody who either just defended the title or won the title the night before against somebody who just won an invitational tournament the night before as well. So that's a quick turnaround. That's a lot of emotions to go through in 24 hours. And so I imagine that's going to be a pretty heavy match.
Well, how about this one coming up too? Mickie James steps back in the ring, and she is going to be taking on Kylie Ray. Now that is a fire. That's a match that's got me fired up. I'm excited to see that one. Doc, I know you're excited.
Oh my gosh, man! I don't even want to comment on this. How do I begin to comment on a match with Mickie James, the first lady of the NWA, and then one of my all-time favorites right now, at least one of my current favorites, Kylie Ray. So I don't want to prognosticate on the outcome of this, but it's got me fired up as well.
Will, the tag team titles are on the line at NWA 73 when Aaron Stevens and Kratos defend against La Rebellion. Bestia 666 and Mecha Wolf have been running roughshod through the NWA this season, and now they finally got their opportunity. And if there's anybody that stands a chance against the tag champs, it's these two guys. What do you think about that one?
Oh, man. I mean, to say I'm excited about this match is an understatement. It's something I've been pining for since When Our Shadows Fall, when we first got to see La Rebellion in an NWA ring. They've been wreaking havoc ever since, going up against the End, interfering in anywhere they could stick their nose in. These guys are dangerous. They're tough. They bring a level of competition to the tag team division in the NWA that we have not seen in a long time. I commented on something on social media this week, saying they've really revitalized the NWA tag team division. And that's true. I really believe that. And so this match it's going to be telling. I mean, Aaron Stevens and JR Kratos have been through a lot in their tag team championship reign. And this is going to be a true test of whether or not they can work together against a team who could really work together in their sleep, to be honest. I mean, these guys, Bestia 666 and Mecha Wolf, are always on the same page, it seems. And so this is going to be a hard-fought match, and whoever comes out of this with those belts certainly is worthy of it.
Yeah, and Doc, I know you're all about your strictly business boys, but Chris Adonis getting a huge challenger out of nowhere, but welcome back. Chris Adonis defending the national title against former national champion James Storm. The Cowboy is back. He's returned for history. He couldn't miss this one, either because of the historical nature or because Busch Light's a sponsor. Either way, James Storm's here, and he's taking on Chris Adonis for that national title. How you feeling about the chances there?
Well, first of all, I had to point out that that Will used the word pining. He said he was pining for that tag team match, which I love that word. Shades of Percy Shelley, the great romantic poet. Shout out to Sir Absurd, my man in the chat, who I know is probably a big Percy Shelley fan, but I had to point that out. This is a match, obviously, with immediate World's Championship title implications. The winner of this match, Chris Adonis and James Storm, will walk out the national champion and will be the one who I presume would be the next to challenge Nick Aldis after day 1045, because Nick Aldis will still be reigning as world champion. But so this is a match that could reverberate for months down the road. So I'm looking forward to this. Always great to see James Storm. James Storm, an NWA Lightning One OG, and former national champion, again, tag team legend, but definitely fits right there in that World's Heavyweight Championship title picture against Chris Adonis, who in my mind should be in that main event at NWA 73.
Well said. Well, it wouldn't be an NWA 73 card discussion if we didn't go ahead and mention our guest tonight. Trevor Murdoch goes one-on-one with the real World's Heavyweight Champion, who'll be celebrating day 1044 on that very night. Mr. Nick Aldis, the national treasure, the dealer, in a title versus career match. Trevor Murdoch can't get it done this time around. He's hanging up his boots. Will, how does that make you feel?
Well, first of all, whoever created this graphic must have gone into it with the mindset of, let me find two pictures of these guys that strikes terror in the heart of anyone looking, because both of them in these particular shots look absolutely terrifying. So I can't think of a better visual representation of what this main event is going to be like, because as we've just talked about with Trevor Murdoch, and as we know from the Real World's champion, Nick Aldis, both of these guys are going in there with history on their back, history on their mind. They're going to go in there bringing nothing short of 110%. So again, just like Trevor said, the real winners of all this is going to be us, the fans. As far as who's going to walk out the world's heavyweight champion, my heart says Trevor, my mind says Nick, and I guess we'll see which one is stronger in St. Louis.
Doc, I'd be remiss if I didn't offer you a chance to speak here.
Right. When it comes to World's Heavyweight Championship matches, the best thing is to take your heart out of it altogether, which is Trevor Murdoch's Achilles heel. Nick Aldis knows that. When that bell rings, it's going to be completely science. He's mapped this out. He's viewed the tape. He's beat him every time he's faced him, cleanly, I might add. And so this will be another chapter in the same saga, written time and time again. Nick Aldis walks out that match on night 1044. When the sun rises the next day on 1045, he will still be your real World's Heavyweight Champion, and you can bank on that.
Well said. Guys, let's take a second real quick before we wrap this thing up. Let's talk a little bit about Empower as well. We want to give that some time. The big matchup for Empower is going to be we'll get to the main event, actually. Let's talk about the title matches that are on board for us there. You've got Deonna Purrazzo coming in from Impact Wrestling, and she is defending the Impact Knockouts Championship against Melina. How about that? That's going to be pretty incredible. Will, who are you pulling for in this one?
It's been no secret if you've followed our channel over at youtube.com/thisisprowrestling. Deonna Purrazzo has been at the top of my list for women's wrestling for a long time. And so the fact that she's going to be in an NWA ring at Empower is beyond exciting for me. I'm not going to use the word pining again because it'll make Rob too happy, but this is definitely a match that may not be the main event, But in my heart, this is a match that I am dying to see, and I'm definitely rooting for Deonna in this match. But she's got a tough hill to climb with Melina, who's got experience. She's got ring awareness. She's got the smarts to go in there and to squeak one out. But we'll see how it goes.
Doc, are you feeling the same way about that?
No, I'm not. I feel Melina has this. Melina is the legend. I don't have much doubt about it. Certainly, a tremendous amount of respect for Deonna Purrazzo, one of the most impactful women in the world right now. You see what I did there? But we're going against Melina. Melina, this is like putting Hank Aaron against Mike Trout at the, in the home run derby. Okay. Yeah. People like Mike Trout, the guy's great. He's a future Hall of Famer, but you've got a current Hall of Famer in Hank Aaron, and that's Melina. Melina's been there. She's done it. We're on this biggest stage. I don't know that Deonna Purrazzo has been on a stage quite like this. And when the dust settles, Melina walks out there, the new Impact Knockouts champion.
I got to tell you, I mean, I am just nobody asked, but my opinion is this is a toss-up, and I am excited to see what happens here. What I do know is that in either case, Melina is already a legend, so we don't have to offer her that platform, but there can be no question if Deonna Purrazzo walks out of here that she is one of the best ever. She is one of the best in the world and one of the greats. So a lot at stake for Deonna here besides just defending her Impact Championship. Also, another title match, of course, our favorite title, the Burke, the NWA Women's World Championship, is being defended by Camille, the Brick House, against AEW's legit Layla Hirsch. The forbidden door has been kicked open. Layla is here, and though she is tiny, she is mighty, and she is ready to take Camille down off of her feet where size no longer matters and tap her out, or so she would have you believe. Doc, I see you shaking your head over here in my screen. How you feeling about this one?
I completely disagree with you, Gary. I think in this match, size is the deciding factor. When you've got two with comparable athletic ability, and I know Camille's rather new to in-ring competition. She doesn't have the technical wrestling background that Layla Hirsch has, but she is an established athlete. She's a collegiate athlete. And when you've got two women of comparable athletic ability, what's going to come down is the variables. And in this case, a variable is size. Camille is a brick house. She's impervious. She cannot lose. She can't be hurt. She can't be stymied. She can't be winded. There's no way in the world that Camille doesn't walk out of this match still your world's women's champion, the holder of the Burke.
What about you, Will? How you feeling about it?
It's definitely intriguing. This is one of those rare occasions where I'm going to have to side with Doc, maybe not in the same wording, but just the fact that I think Camille is ready. She mentioned it tonight on Race to the Chase, and we've heard her say it before. Don't let her, quote unquote, lack of experience fool you. She is a conditioned, trained athlete. Nobody gets to the point where she is now, defeating Serena Deeb to hold the Burke without having legit pro wrestling talent and ability, and she's defended it successfully already since then. So I agree with Doc on this one. I think Camille walks out with the Burke, and remember, this is going to be done in the shadow of the original Burke that's going to be present that weekend in St. Louis. So there's going to be a lot of history, shadowing this match, and I think both these women will walk into it and take it seriously. I just think Camille's going to come out on top when it's all said and done.
That's an excellent point, Will. I mean, what other situation than in St. Louis, Missouri on Saturday, August 28th, will you have the opportunity to see the current world's heavyweight champion, the women's world heavyweight champion, holding the current Burke, Camille, and defending against Layla Hirsch? You get to see it defended, and you have an opportunity to see the OG, the original, actually worn by Mildred Burke herself. That championship is going to be on display there at Empower. You can't miss that. If you're anywhere near St. Louis, you want to be a part of that. You want to talk about history. Everything about every one of these shows is full of history. Another thing that's historical about this, tag team titles are returning. The World Tag Team Championship, the Women's World Tag Team Championship, I should say. And we have 3 of 4 teams announced for the tournament. Somewhere in the semifinals, one of the teams you're going to see is hell on heels. Sahara 7 and Renee Michelle. I've been looking up a lot about these two ladies. You've seen some of them on AEW. They've been all over the place. Sahara 7 is like a legit like Egyptian queen. Like it's crazy. Like it's fun to look up stuff about her. She's got a lot going for her. This is going to be awesome. And Renee Michelle just fantastic in the times I've seen her compete. So do not count them out. They are look at them. They're stunning. They're a legit badass tag team. And well, Doc, did you have anything you wanted to add here?
No, well, I'll comment once we get all the 3 out of the 4 participants or teams mentioned.
Okay, all right. So let's move on to the next one. The next big one that I know we were all excited about having them on here the other week. The Hex, Allison Kay and Marty Bell return for the NWA Women's Tag Team Tournament. This is going to be incredible. I'm so excited to see them. Allison Kay, of course, the in the Lightning One era, one of the OGs to hold that, well, the OG to hold the Burke, the current version of the Burke, and also helped to contribute her opinions to the design of that Burke. And so how cool to see Allison Kay in the same room with the original Burke and making history by possibly winning the tag team championship. This is going to be big. Also, we talked about James Storm being back. This feels, we talked with Trevor about full circle. This feels like full circle to me. Like this is just having James Storm back at 73, having Allison Kay and Marty Bell back. It's good times to be an NWA fan, especially if you've been there since day one of the Lightning One era. And then a huge surprise announced yesterday as Red Velvet and Kylan King come through from AEW to enter themselves into the tag team tournament. These two women have been tearing it up all over AEW. Red Velvet, literally just on Rampage this past week, had a AEW Women's Championship shot against Britt Baker. And so these two are legit. You've seen them all over. I think they call them RSK with Big Swole over on AEW. You've seen them on Dark and all over the place. So these two women are legit, and they're not to be trifled with. But these are the 3 teams we've seen announced so far for the tournament. One more team still yet to be announced, so I'm excited to see who that is. But fellas, your thoughts?
I'll jump in. I know last week I kind of took the politically correct route and talking about, I'm going to wait until all 4 teams are announced before I, make a pick or anything like that. I will say this, for me, one of the biggest draws of wrestling is the stories that happen and the poetry of it. And I hate that Doc has stepped away for a second because he would appreciate this with his poetry reference. To me, it's just poetic, as you just mentioned, to see Allison Kay, who held that newly redesigned belt that we call the Burke, that harkens back to the original Burke, that's going to be on display at NWA Empower in St. Louis. I think it's only poetic that the Hex would come out of this as tag team champions for the first time in this iteration of the NWA. That would be another thing to just come full circle. And at this point, knowing 3 out of the 4 teams, I think that 4th team would have to be a little bit earth-shattering for me to pick against the Hex at this point. I think that they're familiar with the landscape in the NWA. They're familiar with, no doubt, all the ladies in these tournament. And we know that Allison Kay and Marty Bell are great friends. And I think despite their conflicts in the past, I think they can work well together, which is what tag team wrestling is all about. So that's my pick going into it.
Oh, not so fast, Will. I'm not going to. First of all, I like the poetry reference. And again, my man, Sir Absurd, who's in the chat, is a literary guy. And so anytime we can throw out those little nuggets of literary reference, that's welcome. But the problem is the problems in the past are what's going to trouble the Hex. Because even though they can come on here and say that it's all water under the bridge and they were going through hard times, I'm going to tell you, we've all seen both of these ladies. We know that they're competitive. We also know that they have very long memories. And I don't think that this tension between them is quite settled. I can't make a pick yet because I don't know who the fourth team is. I mean, you throw a fourth team in there that's just going to throw everything, into complete pandemonium. But right now, if you corner me and ask me to pick which team here is going to win the NWA World's Women's Tag Team Championship, you've got no two hotter women in the world right now than Red Velvet and Kylan King, and I'm anxious to see what they do together. I think that obviously Allison Kay and Marty Bell are going to be the NWA favorites. They are NWA OGs. I respect both of them tremendously as singles competitors, but as a tag team, I think there's way too much tension there, way too much unspoken stuff there. The best relationships in life are hard, and we know that they're close, but there's something going on in that relationship. I can't quite put my finger on it. We saw it play out in the episodes of Power prior to the pandemic shutdowns. I'm interested to see if that's going to play out here in the tournament. But if you had to, knowing what we know now, if I had to pick a team, my money's on Red Velvet and Kylan King to walk out the NWA World's Women Tag Team Champions.
Yeah, I mean, I could see where you're coming from. Red Velvet and Kylan King are definitely nothing to scoff at. They're legit, and they've teamed before, so they have that going for them. I don't know, man. I'm still with Allison Kay and Marty Bell on this one. I just really believe in them together. They're best friends, and like they said here with us over the pandemic, they realized the value of that. And I really think that the titles are going to trump any minor disagreements that they have. They're going to want that championship gold.
Yeah, they're going to want them. Everybody that's in the tournament wants them. And Gary, you're proving yourself to be the Trevor Murdoch of the podcast world. You cannot separate emotion from analysis.
What a compliment. That's a nice compliment.
I was about to say, I'll take it. Yeah,
I guess it wasn't intended that way, but
Trevor's great. I love him. All right. Well, the other thing we got to definitely talk about here. Thanks everybody for sticking with us. I know we're going longer. Thank you, Doc and Will, for sticking with us. I know we're going long here, but we're just so excited. We're less than 2 weeks away from this big event, NWA 73 and Empower. One of the big parts of Empower, another piece of historical information that we're still learning about, is there is an NWA Women's Invitational, first ever, of what seems to be something they hope will be an annual event, perhaps the Invitational Cup. And the winner of this match, it's a gauntlet-style match from what we've seen online. I've seen it spelled out by Mickey James and Britt Tarring, and they spelled out that it's a gauntlet style. Every 2 minutes, someone enters the ring like a Royal Rumble, except only pinfall and submission matter as far as victory goes. So you have to pin them or submit them to get them out of there. And so one of these ladies, there's going to be 10, is going to win the first ever NWA Women's Invitational Cup. And the winner of that cup, the very next night, goes on to NWA 73, the anniversary show, the biggest show of the year for the NWA, and they get to take on the Women's World Champion, Layla Hirsch, Camille, whoever it may be. They've got to face off against one of these ladies. And first up on that list that we've seen announced here, Bianca Corelli. Look at her, just a beauty, and she is the daughter of Santino Marella. So she has championship in her blood. She is ready. She is new. She's a rookie, but she is coming in ready to fight, and she is ready to establish herself on the scene in professional wrestling. I want to give a shout out here real quick also to Tootie Lynn. I don't have a nice graphic for Tootie yet. Hasn't come in from my from a designer. So Tootie Lynn, also St. Louis native and fantastic. The Little Blue Dragon, she's going to be there as well. Do we want to just run through these again, guys, before we?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. So next up on the list I've got here, Debbie Malenko is also going to be in the Invitational Cup. Guys, I was super surprised by the explosion of love that Debbie Malenko got on social medias when she was announced to be in this tournament. For those who don't know, Debbie Malenko, over at the Alliance blog, J-Cal did a big write-up on Debbie Malenko, and you can do some research on her. Joshi wrestler, some might say. She trained in and around the time where Medusa was over in All Japan, and one of the first Western women to go over there and train and succeed and get into position to be one of the greats over there until an unfortunate accident with her, I believe it was a broken leg, caused her to retire from pro wrestling. She is making a comeback after years off, starting a family, doing all of the things that people do when they're retired, I guess. And now she's back. She is still not done with her wrestling bug. And so later in her career, here she is. Debbie Malenko is back. What's considered one of the most promising women's wrestlers in the world? Debbie Malenko's here. Doc will love this. I mean, I'm not sure if everybody knows this, but she's trained by the father of Dean Malenko. She's trained by the great Malenko himself. And she is the only female student of Carl Gotch, which is incredible as well. So just, you want to talk about just credentials, Debbie Malenko's got them. Next up, we got Jamie Senegal with Polo Del Mar. They're going to be in action. Don't know much about these two. I've seen them in action on the indies, and it's going to be fun to see what they're able to accomplish here. I'm excited about both of them. Polo is very active online, and so I assume that Polo is going to also be very active around the ring. So they're definitely going to bring some fun, and Jamie's hoping to bring home the Women's Invitational Cup, so that's exciting. One of my favorites in this matchup is, of course, Masha Slamovic, the Russian Dynamite, she goes by. Masha Slamovic. We've seen her in Mission Pro Wrestling and all around the indie scene. And you want to talk about a badass ass kicker. I don't know any other way to describe her. She is, if you're looking for like a wrestler, people want to talk about like the next Stone Cold Steve Austin or that kind of thing. A person who has the vibe of that is Masha Slamovic. She is all about just going in and stomping mud holes in people. That's what she wants to do. She wants to beat people up. It's exciting every time Masha Slamovic is in a match. Next up, Thunder Kitty. I know a lot of people are excited about this one too. She's a big success on the indie scene. She's finally making her step into the big leagues when she comes to the National Wrestling Alliance. And really, where else is better than right here in the National Wrestling Alliance for Thunder Kitty LaFleur? I believe it's her full name. 100 years young. She's been wrestling since 1946, I believe, was the year. She was only about, she was still a young lady by the time Mildred Burke had finally won her title. But, she's probably, I think somebody said online earlier today that they think there is historical documentation that might prove that Thunder Kitty and Mildred Burke actually had the first death match. So that's interesting to know. But Thunder Kitty still hanging around. The world's best grandma, I believe she calls herself too. Get off her lawn. She's here. She's ready to show these ladies what class is all about. She loves, I don't know if they allow smoking in the Chase, but I've definitely seen her walk to the ring with cigarettes. So we'll find out on August the 28th. And Genocide, our girl Genocide, who gets all the love from us. She is going to be joined by Taryn Terrell as she enters the Women's Invitational Cup. Genocide, my God. Is there anybody that can stop Genocide? I don't think there is. I think she's going all the way, and she's headed right for the NWA Women's Championship match and perhaps the title itself. So, and don't be surprised if Genocide just walks out there and just takes the original Burke. Who's going to stop her? Billy Corgan? We'll find out. I don't know. So, Genocide in this tournament. And also a big announcement, Chelsea Green is also involved in this one. She is one of the hottest free agents on the market right now. She is all over the place. You've seen her in WWE, in Ring of Honor, in Impact. You've seen her everywhere there is to be. Chelsea Green, Mickie James and her have a close personal connection where they were almost they were promised main events and didn't get them. So Mickie James put in the call to Chelsea Green when she had the ability to put Chelsea in a main event matchup for something spectacular like Empower. And so Chelsea Green is here. We're going to see what happens, but Chelsea is definitely a strong competitor and a veteran, a longtime veteran, from the hot mess to, as you see her right there in this lovely picture. Chelsea Green is the real deal as far as professional wrestling goes. Still one more left to be announced. We're going to find out who that is pretty soon, I'm sure. But we just went through like 9 of the 10. Fellas, how you feeling about the Women's Invitational Cup?
Man, I mean, what a way to make a statement with Empower. I mean, we could come out and we could have just, some great matchups and one-on-one and tag team stuff. But no, we're going to have an invitational gauntlet style with some of the most competitive, well-trained, experienced athletes in the wrestling business, let alone women's wrestling business. It's almost impossible to make a pick. Not that you asked me to make a pick. You can make a case for anybody on that list that you just mentioned. The standouts for me are obviously Debbie Malenko, who's got the experience. She's got the toughness. Go check out her Twitter account. And she posts videos of herself working out now, and she's just as conditioned as she's ever been. She's just as in good a ring shape as she ever was. And obviously Chelsea Green, obviously Genocide. Come on, our thoughts on Genocide are well documented on this show. Masha Slamovic. I mean, I'm married to a beautiful Ukrainian woman. She's equally beautiful and scary. So I get how serious that can be. Listen, anybody on this list of names that you just mentioned, and there's still, as you said, another one to be announced. So it's gonna be riveting no matter what happens. So I can't wait to be there.
Did you just call Natalia beautiful and scary?
Scary
by implication,
beautiful. Scary beautiful.
Okay.
I said it the wrong way. Yeah.
Certified Hustler in the chat talking about his baby mama looks like red velvet and also scary. So I mean, I don't know. So I guess it's just a thing that goes around. So. Rob, I'm pretty sure you called. I'm pretty sure you called the lovely Tanya scary at some point.
What? I called her Scary Spice because she resembles Scary Spice, but
yeah, I don't see that. But
it was a good one.
Yeah,
let that one
and I really don't call her Scary Spice. I thought that would sound clever, but now it just sounds dumb. So
we're reaching the end of the night for Rob. Like Doc's winding down. If you can't tell, he's a little more relaxed than normal. He stepped away for a little bit, came back. Now he's feeling chill. Trevor Murdoch got him worked up, so he had to take the
he used all his energy.
How many of you can put on your resume? On this night, I was called a dick by Trevor Murdoch.
It's true.
I was bullied by Trevor Murdoch. I've been bullied by Trevor Murdoch. I've been bullied, guys.
Right.
I'm bullied.
Yeah, bullied. That's the word. Trevor Murdoch could not be more of a gentleman, and you just poked the bear. Like, you cannot help yourself. So, yeah. Front row pointing out Masha Slamovic was on AEW Dark tonight against Penelope Ford. So, look at that. These women, I'm telling you what, Empower is going to be a fantastic show. I am so excited to watch it. And guys, if you're in the St. Louis area and you know someone, there are still tickets available to this event somehow. You got to get them over there. This event needs to be sold out. Prove to these women that what they're doing means something. I mean, they know it, but let's show the world what it means to be on this exclusive card. Like, this is a big deal. I want this to be the biggest selling pay-per-view ever. So yeah, show some love to Empower. Only trumped by NWA 73, by the way. I'd love to NWA 73. The biggest selling pay-per-view bundle ever.
Yep. Good point.
Doc, I don't feel sorry for you, by the way. As Eric Dell points out in the chat, Gary knows a thing or two about being bullied by NWA talent. So it's
don't feel sorry for me. I'm not looking for any sympathy. I came in here and spoke my mind and spoke the truth in my mind. So, don't feel sorry for me.
Yeah, I love the love that I got on.
I make $200,000 a year, baby. I make $200,000 a year. You can need to envy me. Don't feel sorry for me. Envy me.
All right.
All right. First round of drinks is on Rob in St. Louis.
No kidding.
It always is, isn't it? So hold on. I think it.
That's what you offer.
Rob does show up with all the.
I think every round of drink has always been on me. Hold on.
It's because you offer, and we're not going to turn it down. And then once you've had that first round, you start to get real nice.
I get real generous,
you just
man.
buy all the rest of them. Yeah.
One of my worst characteristics that one of my great marital strains is that when I start to get casual, I start buying stuff, man. I went up on eBay 2 nights ago talking to Gary. Me and Gary was talking about his other podcast, Cinema Shock. I went up and started buying all these movie props, man, like the Lament configuration, all this stuff, man. There's Jaws posters and stuff. I was like, man, look, don't get me talking about
You see these nice necklaces here? This is when we were in Atlanta, Rob had a couple drinks. And I was like, man, I want some of these necklaces. And Rob just ordered them. Just send them to me.
Hey, show him your
chains. I'll get you chains.
Yeah, show him your 119 proof Chattanooga whiskey. Show him that, baby.
Oh,
courtesy of Doc Stinson.
That's gone.
It's been consumed, my friend. It did well. We'll just put it that way.
That lasted at least 2 nights over at Will's house, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Solid. All right. Well, as RVD says in the chat, RVD1269, I assume it's not the real RVD, but we're glad you're here anyway. It says Doc looks like he needs some warm milk and somebody to tuck him into bed. So I don't know that he's offering, but David, we talked about the Deanna and Melina match, so you have to rewind and go back there. We're going to wrap this thing up. We've kept these poor people here over an hour and a half talking about this stuff. We're just pumped. We're less than 2 weeks away, so expect us to get a little crazy as we head to St. Louis, Missouri for NWA 73 and NWA Empower and the NWA Power Tapings. The race to the chase is on, and we're almost at the finish line. We're almost there, and we're all going to be a part of history, either you watching it on pay-per-view or you being there live. And if you're there live and you see us, please come say hello. We'd love to meet you. Let us know that we're not just talking to ourselves. That would be fantastic. So anyway, fellas, anything you want to add before we wrap this baby up?
I want to send a shout out to Certified Hustler saying, yes, we would like pizza, my man. We would like pizza. I meant to give him a shout out earlier, man. Certified Hustler's been up in this podcast in the chat the last few weeks, and we don't give him enough love, man. So,
hey, man, I'm just Certified Hustler. It is.
I know, but you do it in passing, man. You
velvet
don't,
looking baby mama.
Yeah, but you know. Woo.
Whoa. Well, Doc might not make it in the case if he's got.
Yeah, it might just be the bearded duo.
Nah, I'll be there. I'm going into quarantine tomorrow, man. I'll be there. Nah.
All right. Well, thanks for everybody showing up. Legitimately, we mean it. Thank you so much. You guys make it worth it. You watching and participating, it shows the NWA this kind of thing is worth it. They want to give something extra to the people and just some interactivity just to talk about the product. And so you guys prove that this is something that the NWA fam would appreciate. So we always thought we'd want to be a part of something like this, and we're glad it's happening now. So thank you so much. Shout out to Busch Light, our sponsors over there. Those guys are fantastic. Thanks for sponsoring professional wrestling, real professional wrestling. And also shout out to LegacySups.com, where if you use code NWA fam, you get a nice discount over there. And thank you guys for being here. We love you guys. And until next week,